Lost in space and time for over 10,000 years, on a mission they were never meant to return from. They have returned from the horrible secrets of space. They are the Comic Shop.
Oh, hey, everybody. You're listening to The Comic Shop Does a Podcast with me, the Vigilante.
And I'm Peacemaker.
And I'm not quite sure what's going on.
We're kind of going more on the fly than usual, which is really saying something, huh?
Yeah, no, we've caution to the wind here. We've not sure where we're going to go. How is everybody? Aaron, you went back to school today.
I did.
Yeah, how's that? First day back?
Overall, a pretty good day.
Nice.
One fun thing I like to do, like if I'm ever out for any amount of time, I usually wear glasses, but today I wear contacts, and so just a little bit of difference. And I've been out, so like some people, of course, we're still wearing the masks in school, so some people weren't quite sure if it was me or not. And I just like that. I like to be a rumor. Like, is Mr. Lee back?
Yeah.
Is he back?
Just like a whisper in the wind. Like,
that's right.
Maybe he's back. Maybe he's not.
Yes, I like the mystery.
You said masks are still in effect, but masks are actually, as of March 3rd, they're getting rid of the mask mandate in schools?
I don't know for sure. I'll probably still be wearing mine.
I actually just got an email from the president of
the president of the United States of America?
Yeah.
Wait, who's the president now?
Of
SUNY? Yeah.
I have no idea.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Too soon.
Some lady.
Too soon.
But yeah, I got a email from her specifically to me saying
Hi,
masks are still required. We're not changing anything. So.
Is she a very nice lady?
No.
Okay.
Do they feel that maybe the college environment is more litigious?
I think
the
so.
Public school environment?
Yeah, because it's like, people live there. They, college kids are dumb.
I see. More liability.
They do drugs and party and do all this stupid stuff. Spread COVID.
I just went to the library.
That's what I do too.
Wah, wah.
That's what I tell my parents at least. But let's get this party started.
What are you doing?
What?
How was your week?
How was my week?
Yeah.
It was good. Just another week of school.
You're working on a comic.
I am
I
working
don't know
on
if
it.
you really want to talk about it.
I don't mind. Yeah, I can. I'm on the second issue now. I finished the first issue, I believe, last Friday.
Of which I told you I was going to read yesterday, and I did not read. I've read the first half of it, but I know you've made some revisions since then.
I did.
Aaron, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely some
There's something there, he said.
There's some points in there that I think would really translate. I think it's still a first draft. And I'm
Yeah,
pretty
for sure,
done with
for sure.
your
Ooh,
read, but-
masks in schools. Still based on decision by
Okay.
district and
So-
numbers in county, as far as I know.
Got you.
Thank you, Mrs. Lee.
I imagine it's the same for, soon as we go. But, anyway, I finished the first issue, started the second. I do a page a day. It takes me about 10 to 15, depending on the page. Could be 1 minute, really. It's like a splash page, boom. I know exactly what I want to write, and I have an outline, so it's not like I'm getting writer's block, which is nice. But, yeah, it's going good so far. And
Nice.
so that's it. It's a zombie book. And that's
with a little bit of humor.
It's a humorous zombie book. The main character, he's a bit of a goofball like myself.
Yeah.
And so
Did he wait too long to do his senior thesis on film?
that's actually the plot.
Are you serious?
No, it's not the plot.
Is there a
Is it a plot,
groundskeeper?
or is that something you're still?
What's that?
Is there a groundskeeper?
No, there's not.
Can there be?
I may add one. Yes.
Actually, that's an excellent point. There really should be a cameo by the groundskeeper of your film in the comic.
That's great.
If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All inside jokes on this week's Suga Comic Shop Makes a Podcast.
Yeah.
Does a podcast.
Does a
podcast.
Whatever it is that we do here, we understand it sometimes.
But how was your week, Evan?
Actually, it was a very good week. The store had one of the best weeks in
There we go.
10 months,
Awesome.
which I was very surprised at. I'm not sure
February.
if it's tax return money or what. There was a new Magic card set that was released, Kamigawa, and people love this set. It's the strongest set in over the past 3 or 4 sets. So Joe and I were actually just looking at bumping up some orders because
Sweet.
it's just
Selling really good.
selling like hotcakes. If you know what a hotcake is.
Are
Apparently
people
they sell
bringing in the Blizzy Bucks too?
Blizzard bucks? I have to add up all of our Blizzard bucks, but
We got some more today, actually. We got 50.
Really? Typically, we do between like $200 and $400 each Blizzard Buck promotion. I think we're close to $600 in Blizzard Bucks this go, which is very good.
Yeah, I don't really know what Blizzard Bucks are.
You don't know what the program is?
I don't.
So this started at the beginning of the pandemic. What, Aaron?
I'm just looking at you in the monitor. This is so great.
So I'm trying to get in the mood for Peacemaker because I really didn't watch
Right,
much
'cause-
Peacemaker,
yeah.
so I figured I'd wear a funny helmet.
Well, it's like a silver helmet.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Peacemaker wears. So
So Blizzard Bucks at the beginning of this pandemic, I was part of a small business group, which I technically still am, but I really don't participate anymore, and those are for reasons that I will tell you off the air.
sure,
There you go.
Sure. That's probably for the best.
But the government can't pay its citizens. Like they can't just give you, like the elected officials can't just give you money. So
They can't.
they can't. There was
Oh, man.
there was like a $50,000 thing came up through a private enterprise that was given to the city to redistribute to consumers in the city.
Right.
Where if you brought $25, you would get an additional $25. You pay $25 cash, now you get $50 to spend at a local business. And that's the thing. It's like you can't take your Blizzard Bucks to Walmart.
Right.
but you
It's
can take them to a
only
comic shop,
local.
you can take them to local restaurants.
So you just double your money pretty
GJP,
much.
you're doubling your money, and there's that's it.
I should have got in on that because I order like Sub Shop like once a week and like
I mean, I think that there's a list of 150 plus small businesses
Right.
maybe that take these, but we did it the one time, and then I think they found some additional funding to do it a second time. I believe this was the 4th Blizzard Buck thing that we've done,
wow.
and it's great for the
So,
community.
yeah.
It's great for small businesses that like I just get reimbursed from the city eventually. Like Tim, the guys know who Tim is. He'll
Right.
come around
Tim-
eventually and just kind of
Tim,
collect, or I'll stop at the small business, whatever place on East Bridge. But it's a very good promotion. We've made a lot of money.
That's good.
Yeah.
Cool.
But a good week at the shop, good money. We did a few different events. We had a miniatures night on Thursday that was very successful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that stream was. Wait, are we talking about the stream on Saturday or
Well,
no?
we did. So we had a miniatures night on Thursday.
What is
where,
that?
We,
Paint?
Alex and I put together some miniatures. Doug and Bert were
Okay.
playing a little bit.
I didn't
We
know
had
that
a
was going
local
on.
Miniature printer come in. Casey Woods was here with his wife talking Warhammer and things like that.
Was there a D&D thing that went down too?
Saturday.
Friday we had Magic. Even though it was a blizzard, we had a good group come out for Magic, and then we did a D&D event on Saturday,
Which
was super
seemed-
fun. It was actually not Dungeons and Dragons, called Dungeon Crawler,
Okay.
and but a similar vein.
Seemed like it did well.
Was
I
that
think
was
we
that
got like
streamed?
100-something views.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
a good-
wow.
Yeah, and it was very funny. Everybody had a great sense of humor. We're going to do it once a month.
Seems like a good thing to do once a month.
I don't want to spoil it, but there was a character that was kind of like a Mickey Mouse character.
Well, you just spoiled it.
And 3 hours into it, all of a sudden there was a big revelation that one of the other characters was actually a Disney character as well, who he had set it up at the beginning, and none of us caught the joke.
Right.
And then when it was the reveal,
So he
we were
planted the seed.
we laughed for 20 minutes. We cried so hard because it was just such a great reveal, just such a fun group of people. So we'll probably do
That's
that
awesome.
once a month.
I know I liked listening to that previously.
Yeah,
when
we used to do a
did
bunch
that?
of online D&D streams at the beginning of the pandemic, but we kind of got away from that. It's been having trouble finding
Sure, yeah.
groups to get together, but this was our first time.
Seems
doing
like you
another-
had a good group.
We did, and
Yeah.
we had a group that was all DMs or GMs of previous games,
They know their stuff. They know.
and they're
you
all
know.
excellent storytellers,
Right.
and they all kind of know how to play off of one another and improv, and it was very funny.
Now here's what I need to know:
Mm-hmm.
Is Chikon Tendi back?
Chikon Tendi is not bad.
Ah,
Chikon Tendi, Alex is now playing a character called Gooby, who is a dirt wizard. Like he's just
Oh.
a filthy wizard that can transform into other animals.
but not dirt.
Well, he's covered in dirt.
Oh, okay.
Like we asked what the ratio was of filth to person, and he said it was 80-20. So he's like 80% filth, 20%
Guy needs a
human
bath.
or something, and then he's a wizard.
Okay.
Gooby.
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 Not
Something else.
Doobie.
Sorry.
That's the donkey from that one winery.
Is it?
Yes.
Sure.
You said that with a lot of authority.
But the stream went well.
Yeah,
Like
we had a lot
I
of people
I was here when it started around 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
I went home. I took a nap. Woke up at 9. You guys had like what was it 6 to 8 viewers or something?
I think if you
For a
checked it-
3-hour
if you
stream, that's
checked it today,
good.
I think it said it was something like close to 100
Yeah,
views.
and
Wow.
that's good for consistent viewers.
For
I
our
mean,
crummy. This
you know.
helmet's very heavy, by the way.
yeah,
You don't have to wear it the whole time
yeah.
I'm committed at this point.
All right, you're committed. But
because the camera's not even over there for a lot of the time.
That's fine.
Okay, fair enough. You're
I'm a
the
method
Al
actor, okay?
Pacino.
I'm a method actor.
Yes.
method actor. Okay. All right, well let's dive into it. Let's start with some Suicide Squad talk, which me and you have seen.
I did not.
Yes.
So tell me about the Suicide Squad. I have not seen it.
So there's a squad,
Yes.
and
A squat or a squad?
squad.
A duh.
With a D.
Squad. They are incarcerated
Yes.
for the most part,
Okay.
Yeah.
and there's a woman named Amanda Waller.
Yes.
She's in charge of this group, officially called Task Force X.
Is that what it's
think-
called?
I think so.
I think it's Task Force Z.
In the Peacemaker film or TV show, it's Task Force Z.
Yes. Yes.
Aren't we talking about Suicide Squad though?
Yes. Was that Task Force X?
Okay, so maybe. Well, why wouldn't it be Task Force?
Where was Task Force Y?
Why? Yeah.
Maybe we'll find that out in the future.
Maybe.
Got to leave a little room,
Sorry.
a little room to backfill.
But yeah, so let's. James Gunn directed. I think he wrote it too.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad, yes. And,
Task Force X.
well, the movie itself.
Yes.
He wrote and directed
As long as we're
Suicide
clear.
Squad. We are clear. The movie itself is called Suicide Squad, but I guess the team is called Task Force X in the movie. All on the same page. But
No, this makes a lot of sense.
I hope so. Yeah, written and directed by James Gunn, who he kind of jumped ships.
Jumped ship
He jumped a ship
A singular ship.
and a shark.
and a shark, and I think there's a whale in there too.
Could be.
But
Hard to see.
he went from Marvel to DC. He's back at Marvel now and at DC. He's playing.
He's doing both.
He's doing
Yeah.
both.
I'm actually. That's kind of impressive that like
Yeah.
he can get away with that. Not that you're getting away
Uh,
with anything, but like he's that in tune to the superhero universes that
Well,
like. What are you gonna say?
I think Disney kind of like stepped on their own foot,
Oh.
and then they were like, "Uh-oh," and he was over there, and they were like, "But would you want to come back?" And he's like, "But I'm doing this now." And they're like, "You can do that too if you come back."
This is after Guardians 2, where like people were trying to cancel him or something.
Yes, yes. Don't you get that sense that like they were like, we can't. He's doing good things. Maybe we can. It's like, come on back,
Well,
and he's like, "Well, I don't know if I want to come back."
as
and they're like,
far-
you can do that thing too.
As far as the Marvel Cinematic Universe goes, I think James Gunn is one of the most just I don't know how to say it, like creative directors that has done a Marvel movies. Taika Waititi's up there too. I think they're like top notch, but it's like they're a film almost, you know. Whereas like I don't know, like an Ant-Man or like an Iron Man, it feels like it's in the same universe, but as you know, whereas Guardians or Thor Ragnarok, it does feel like it's in the same universe,
James
but
Gunn
there's
did Thor Ragnarok.
No, that was Taika Waititi.
Okay,
It was I love Taika Waititi. He did Thor
Is
Ragnarok.
he on Task Force X?
He is actually, you know what? He was in Suicide Squad. He wasn't on the Task Force X though, but yeah, he was in Suicide Squad.
Yes, he was in that film,
He was in that film.
Film of that name.
Which yeah, I love Taika Waititi.
and he wasn't doing any suicide squats.
No, he was not.
He was just in the film.
He was just.
Was he doing suicides where like you have to like run and touch the 10-yard line and run back, and then run and touch the 20-yard line?
Maybe
and
to
run
get
back?
ready for the movie, but not in the actual movie.
Well,
I
it
remember
was
doing
like
those in soccer.
a 2-minute scene. So if he was doing that, he really must have committed to the role.
So what was the premise for Suicide Squad?
Well, you take these villains and you say, hey, there's this mission that the superheroes don't want to deal with or don't know about. Maybe I think it tends to be more like government missions where the superheroes they just don't know about.
Like not favorable missions, like
Right.
no missions that you would want Superman to be caught doing.
No.
Why would you give me an example of a mission you wouldn't want Superman? Like I feel
Like an assassination of like a government person, maybe if a foreign government, like
Okay,
Superman wouldn't do that.
that's-
So
Fair
it's more dirty work.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, perfect.
dirty work.
The government.
with Artie Lang?
What?
What?
It's done actually probably not dirt cheap because they implant the things into their back of their skulls that'll explode if they run away or do something
And that's
they're not
the
supposed
way
to.
they control these villain heroes is if you don't do this, we're just going to blow you up.
Pretty
Correct.
much. Pretty much, yeah. And they also the trade off is they get like I think it's like 100 years off their life sentence or whatever it is. They get time off their sentence.
Or something else.
Something who knows. But yeah, the government, Amanda Waller, essentially she sends them on these missions that are kind of like I said, dirty work. Interestingly enough, the trailer for the Suicide Squad, one of them, they had that dirty work song that played. I don't want to do your dirty work anymore. that is also on The Sopranos, one of the best shows ever made. But
James Gunn,
Thematic.
we'll talk about this a little bit because I don't follow a ton of his stuff, but
what did you say?
No, I said thematic, but
I think you
every
said
time-
pathetic. I'm like,
No,
are you insulting
thematic?
Sopranos?
Same amount of syllables. Some of the some similar sounds. But every time Evan pops up in the monitor with Evan, for some reason it's funnier on screen.
It is. I think it's the angle
Yeah.
because it's not a flattering angle.
okay. Well, let's be serious for a moment.
Okay, I'm trying.
So James Gunn, we'll talk about this in a little bit. His use of music, I
Right.
feel like, is a reoccurring theme that I truly enjoy. And I only watched a couple episodes of Peacemaker,
Right. Yeah.
but I really like that thematic overture of like hair metal and things like that. in
Yeah.
this. And I think obviously there's the musical tie into Guardians of the Galaxy,
Mm-hmm.
Guardians of the Galaxy, the mixtape stuff. And just your
Right.
talk, I don't want to do your dirty work for.
Right.
Yeah, it's a little heavy-handed maybe, but I also think that it's kind of a fun.
well, I feel like
It's a fun approach to.
it-
I appreciate somebody who appreciates music
Mm-hmm.
and maybe isn't as big of a film guy as you guys are. I do enjoy the creative selections for creating a soundscape or a theme by using popular songs.
Sure,
that
sure.
people know or-
I definitely feel like in Guardians, the music is like front and center, right? I mean, the part of the music, revolves around the story, of the
Oh, yeah.
mixtape, right? Whereas Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, I feel like it's not like that. Like there's good songs, but
I think that there's
they're
a
just there.
theme there, and I think he's very much involved in curating that playlist of songs that's going to tell its own story.
No,
alongside the
100%.
movie or film.
He said before in an interview when asked about, it was probably for Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when he was doing the press tour. He was asked about how he incorporates the songs into it. Does he do it after? And he's like, no, it's like baking a cake. You throw all the ingredients in, and then you bake a cake, and that's how he does it. He does it as he writes the script, which I find pretty interesting. And it makes more sense, right? It's like, oh yeah, this song would work for this story beat, yada yada yada.
So he's a lot like a pastry chef.
He's pretty much.
What the creativity itself is a mixture of elements,
Sure, yeah,
all kinds of things.
all sorts of mediums.
So what
100%.
happens at the end of Suicide Squad that takes us into
They all die.
Peacemaker? Do they all die?
No,
Not all of them, but a lot.
Um,
Spoiler alert! Whoops.
I guess we'll get into spoilers. I mean,
I don't think. I mean, the movie's been out for.
Over
yeah,
a year.
I don't think anyone
right?
really
Yeah,
cares.
I mean,
yeah.
I again. I
Anyone
haven't
that has
seen it,
interest
but-
in watching this has seen it. Rick Flag dies, who he was killed by Peacemaker.
which he kind of talks about in the first. couple
Right, and it
episodes.
almost seems like he almost regrets it. Almost, and maybe that's later on too, where
There's this. So I just watched again. I only watched the first two episodes. There's a scene where in the first episode where he's reminiscing, or maybe it's just a flashback in the
is
beginning.
it.
when
I
he
think he's
kills him.
crying,
In the second
in the second
he's-
episode.
he's crying,
and then he's like,
remembering that
"Peacemaker,
scene.
what a joke,"
joke,
which
or
is
whatever,
which
yeah.
Rick Flag says, which I find funny because also the Charlton comics, Peacemaker is a Charlton character. DC bought him, and
I have a little information I gave Aaron about
Yeah.
Charlton.
Oh, you gave it to me?
yeah,
Where
but
is it?
the Watchmen, Peacemaker, the comedian in the Watchmen is based off Peacemaker, so I kind of find
Yes.
that kind of interesting. I wonder if that was kind of a nod to Watchmen from James Gunn there. It's like Peacemaker, what a joke. It must be, 100%.
Okay. It's got to be.
You
It's
know,
got to
you
be.
mentioned that earlier,
Now
and
the-
I wasn't following your, but yeah, like I think I
Right.
just clicked at Aaron's. I what
'Cause
you're
it-
trying to explain right now. I go, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it must be.
But now that you put that,
I
together
think
there.
it's pretty clever. And I think it's it's very dimensional, right? There's a few layers to that. What that means, and it comes back in the series, right? That line a few times later on too, which I won't spoil.
Yeah, it's kind of. So we're talking about Peacemaker now.
Yeah, let's
No,
talk
I
about.
mean, at the end of Suicide Squad.
Okay, so it's at the end of Suicide Squad. Idris Elba's character Bloodsport, who's pretty much what's the guy's name? Deathshot. What is it?
Deathstroke.
No, the one that Will Smith played in the other Suicide Squad.
Is it Deadshot?
Deadshot, yeah. Who's pretty much a Deadshot.
Yeah.
He shoots guns, guy.
DC's got a lot of these like second,
Right.
third tier, just guys with guns
Yeah.
Right.
from the
yeah,
80s.
Yeah.
It does. I think Aaron and I would definitely say we're Marvel guys, more
I
than DC
am.
guys, and I get confused sometimes with there's a lot of second tier, guys with masks and a lot of guns, and you're like, death touch.
DC was trying. They were trying a lot of stuff because like they weren't doing poorly. They were number 2 in the industry for a long time. Probably still are number 2.
Yeah, I imagine.
But when you're number 2, you're like maybe more willing to take a couple chances here and there to kind of jockey for the number 1 spot in certain regards. So
Yeah.
maybe more willing to take a little chance here.
Movie wise, they're definitely number 2, for sure. That may change coming up. I don't know, in my 5 to 10 years maybe. But anyway, at the end of the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker dies in quotes. He gets shot. He gets shot by Bloodsport. And there's actually a interesting seed that was planted earlier on about Peacemaker making fun of Bloodsport because he shoots smaller bullets than him. And essentially, you see this awesome shot with Peacemaker shoots his gun, his big pistol that he has. It's a big bullet.
Big 50 caliber or
Bloodsport
something.
shoots a small one. The small bullet goes through the big one, destroys the big bullet, and then hits him in the neck.
Yeah.
Peacemaker in the neck. And I thought that was that's as a writer who's I've written a feature screenplay. I took a class on it. You want those.
Better than me?
Yeah, 100%. 100% of it. No
Let's
question.
let's stop talking about the topic. Just start getting into personal insults between the people on camera and on mic. That would make for the best, programming.
That was a cool seed that was planted, and then you saw it pay off. As a screenwriter, you want those seeds. And so he dies, but the end credit scene, you see him in a hospital bed, and
And that's
whatever.
where you kind of pick
And it
up at
sets
the
up for
start of
Peacemaker. And that's where
he's being put back together of, oh, you should be dead. You're the luckiest man alive. We just have to replace your collarbone or something like that.
So let's give. Should we give Suicide Squad a rating? Me and you.
A rating?
Yeah, out of 10. What do we think? I'd give it a 7.
I give it it's pretty good.
That's Evan.
14 out of 10.
Awesome. All right, so Suicide Squad was good. I do want to talk about Peacemaker in that actually a bit more, and his character itself. Because when I watch, I've only seen the film once, and I was not a fan of Peacemaker. I like John Cena in the role. I thought he did a great job playing a total D-bag, right? Which the character is glorified Captain America D-bag, right?
Lucas, I didn't want to like John Cena. I immediately was going into these couple episodes going, I'm just not going to, because I don't watch a ton of TV to begin with.
I love John Cena.
And
I do.
I'm fine with John Cena, but to me, he's a wrestler.
It could be like a generational thing, maybe, where
So now you're calling me old.
you're
keep going.
like what, 60? I don't know. No, but
If you're older than 30, you must be 60.
John Cena was, I grew up with wrestling a bit. I watched it as a kid. And John Cena, that was kind of his heyday. I feel like the early 2000s.
Sure.
And then from there, he, The Rock was kind of the first one I feel like to really transition from wrestling into movies. Successfully.
If you go back in time, like Hulk Hogan,
right?
But like the '80s, well before, like when I was a little kid, like he had a bunch of corny movies and things like that. But he wasn't an actor like The Rock, where like
The Rock,
the leading man,
exactly,
or a John Cena, where
I would say John Cena. A lot of times actors in Hollywood, they try to kind of do movies that they try to model their career off of other actors and what worked for them. Depending on how they want to be perceived, what films they want to do, yada yada yada, and John Cena obviously is not doing the the Rock thing where The Rock, he does huge blockbuster action movies. John Cena hasn't really done that. I guess it's Suicide Squad, obviously.
I think that's a smart move on his part, though, because you're always going to be compared to The Rock, because
Sure,
The Rock was the guy from the previous generation almost.
Yeah,
and he's also the biggest movie star in the world.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not able to be the biggest movie star in the world, will you always just be compared to The Rock and said, "Oh, he wasn't as good"?
Right.
Like even if he is a good actor,
I think John Cena, I follow him on Instagram, and he's just a funny guy. Like the stuff he posts, man.
What other hunks do you follow on Instagram?
I can't think of any right
Lucas's top 10 hunks on Instagram. Tune in to the Sugo Comic Shop does a podcast.
We'll do that. We'll do that next week.
Hunks on
I'll make a list. John Cena, he's
Lucas's Instagram hunk number 10. John Stamos. I don't know.
Welcome back to Top Hunks. I'm your host, Lucas Brewer.
No, John Cena. He pretty much just posts memes. Like it's really funny. It's entertaining. So I always like John Cena, and the meme "You Can't See Me." I just for whatever reason I always found that funny.
Aaron, do you know any wrestling at all?
I knew a little bit about it, like in Ultimate Warrior era with like Hulk Hogan and
Like early '90s stuff.
I knew some of that because my cousin was into it, and then you just couldn't get away from some of it, like the NWO and like that stuff, just because it was on, on TBS and TNT and stuff.
You
like
only
that.
had like 2 channels back in the day.
Well, my family shelled out for the low end of the cable package, so we topped out at like channel 16. So sometimes we could see some of the real cable channels.
Back in Evan's day, you had CBS, NBC. And that was
PBS
it.
if you're lucky.
PBS.
If the wind was blowing the right way.
What was this? The 60s.
Yep. Welcome back to Old Time Radio. I'm your host, Evan Coy.
He's from the Middle Ages today.
Middle Ages. Dark Ages.
What was it? But
this is my helmet. This is my Peacemaker helmet.
Peacemaker helmet.
I didn't really appreciate wrestling until I watched the documentary on the Ultimate Warrior, and then I kind of because I knew that it wasn't. Well, I don't know. People get upset at this. It wasn't real. It was staged in a performance.
What?
Like it's not a pure physical test. It's a performance. The performance is real.
I disagree. 100% real. The whole thing.
Okay, but like once I saw that and like saw the inner workings of like people like not liking the Ultimate Warrior because he just showed up and like shook the ropes and like knocked people over with like a superpower move and they were like mad at him. And
I think Vince McMahon liked him because he was just a bodybuilder. And
yes,
he was Vince McMahon. Much like Lucas is into hunks, and that was like his stereotype for a while. Is he would just try to find these big muscly guys, even if they didn't have acting ability.
Sure.
He just wanted supersized guys out there.
Right.
And I think that that's what the Ultimate Warrior, why he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, is that maybe he wasn't a guy who grew up as a wrestler. He was a guy who grew up as a bodybuilder, which John Cena was a bodybuilder too before he went to be a wrestler.
Yeah, I don't know that. But
I think you could argue John Cena has much more acting chops than
Well,
Vince McMahon.
you definitely.
I feel like especially like WWE now. It's a soap opera pretty much, right?
Yes.
There's drama, and that's why people love it, right?
There's a bunch
It's
of hunks.
bunch of hunks.
And the acting
love the hunks.
acting ability of said hunks is actually much higher than you would think. You would think they're just going out there and like running into each other, but they're doing like advanced kind of storytelling. It's almost like a stage play because they have to convey emotion, with their body and stuff like that throughout things.
Right.
Was that a South Park episode where the boys started a wrestling thing?
Yes.
And then it gradually became this more dramatic acting
Yep,
type thing
yep,
where
yep.
we moved away from the wrestling and they were just giving big long soliloquies and things
It was
that. Because it was just they turned into opera more than
right. Yeah. And I think I'm pretty sure it attracted like just the rednecks of South Park for some reason. And the rednecks, they always had that joke in South Park where it's like, "You took our jobs," and there was. The episode ended with something to do with jobs, and the rednecks were like, "They took their jobs," and they were done with wrestling. That's how it ended. But let's get back on topic.
I know, we're way off.
We're way off. John Cena. Okay.
John Cena's an actor, formerly a wrestler.
Right, but
He still wrestles a little bit, I think.
I'm sure he goes back every now and then.
I feel like it's a Rock type thing where like once a year maybe he'll come out, he'll get paid $4 million from the WWE.
Oh, I'm sure
He'll show
more
up for
than
10
that.
minutes because he puts a lot of butts in seats and
100%.
entertaining television.
Yeah. Yeah, I think John Cena, I would love to see him in more roles. But Peacemaker, I mean,
He was good in Daddy's Home. If you've seen those,
I have seen. Was he
better than you? Like you watch the trailer and you think,
wasn't he just
maybe
in the
not a
second
great
one?
thing.
Or?
He was in both. He was in both
I-
because
I-
he was.
Is that the Mark Wahlberg?
Yes.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
So he shows up to
Not
like
good movies.
out masculinize Mark Wahlberg, and then his father is actually Mel Gibson in the sequel.
Right. Yep. Yeah, those movies aren't. Let's get back on topic. John Cena, I would love to see him in more roles, more dramatic roles even, I think it'd be interesting to see this big muscular hunk of a man, right? He's just a big hunk in more of a dramatic movie. Right?
I think he could do it. I think even if he
100%.
downplayed like his physique, I think he could do it.
Well, I think I think it shows in Peacemaker that he can do the emotional stuff.
He's
know?
a talented guy.
He
He's a
is
talented
very-
I
performer.
watched 2 episodes. Even his little crying 2-minute thing, not even 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Right, which was
At first, you're like, "What is this?" And you're like, "Oh, I kind of buy it. I kind of
Right. It's
it's an interesting character
Sure.
too. I went into this going, I'm not gonna like it. Like I know everybody has a lot of great things to say, but I just don't think this is my cup of tea.
that's kind of what I thought too.
Lucas, when I leave here, I'm probably gonna watch the 3rd episode.
Right, yeah.
It's it's great.
It's good. It's a good show to binge watch. I feel like
Yeah.
too. Especially the 3rd episode. The ending is pretty solid.
So let me use some wrestling terminology to talk about Peacemaker's journey throughout the episodes. He may start as a heel, but he does a face turn.
He does a face turn. Do you know what a face turn is?
Nope.
So in wrestling, heels are the bad guys.
Okay.
It's just a wrestling lingo term.
Sure.
Heels are the bad guys. Baby faces
That's me.
are the good guys. Like Aaron Lee is the ultimate. He's the comic shop baby face. He's the there's nothing controversial or bad. He wants to help. Blah blah blah. Whereas you be like the comic shop heel, like
Okay.
the villain who sometimes people root for, but
But-
is always kind of nefarious and underhanded. And if you are if let's say someday you want to be a good employee at the comic
Sure.
shop, you would make the baby face turn. So you would all of a sudden turn on another bad guy, like I don't know, Martin, and all of a sudden you would emerge as he's no longer the bad guy anymore. He took it to another bad guy, and now he's on the good. He's made a face
Turn.
face turn.
Sure.
Which face is short for baby face. So baby faces in wrestling are the good people. Heels, much like you, are the bad people.
Okay. Interesting.
Not really where I was intending that to go, but all right.
It went there.
I love you, Lucas.
I know. What was I gonna say? But yeah, no. Well, Suicide Squad, Peacemaker. I feel like we didn't dive into his character a lot. He was very kind of surface level.
Was
And
this planned from the beginning?
I think so. It must have been. If not, I think.
Well, I
think
mean, according to the sheet that Evan provided me with, during the COVID-19 lockdown, writer and director James Gunn began writing a spin-off television series centered on the origins of Peacemaker, a character portrayed by John Cena in the film. Gunn said he did this mostly for fun and mentioned the idea to Suicide Squad producer Peter Safran as something he would like to pursue.
And I think the show's just fun. I think it's overall just a fun show you can watch.
Right from the opening credits.
Oh, 100%. The opening credits are fantastic. It was genius of James Gunn.
I remember Tessa from Mama's Geeky. Shout out to Tessa. We're not shouting anybody out. Can we shout out Tessa from
We
Mama's
can
Geeky?
shout her out.
She's
She's
in California for
she's
the Batman.
I don't
Or
think
maybe
so.
not Batman.
I don't think it's Batman.
She's in California for something right now. We're gonna see if we can lock her up in the future to do another
Yeah.
episode with us.
It's a good time of the year to be in California.
Yeah, but I remember she posted online like, you just have to watch the intro to Peacemaker, and I'm like, all right, not super into it, but I will watch the intro to Peacemaker. Oh, is that fun?
I watched all the episodes, obviously, and I did not skip the intro once. I was like, I want to watch it every single time.
The
and
Eagles
dance.
great.
Yes.
The Eagles
Eagles
amazing.
so much fun.
You just see characters where it's like the dad, for example. It's kind of weird because the he's like the ultimate d-bag, right? He's just like a racist, just a total d-bag, and you see him just dancing, and it's kind of weird.
But
It's like, okay, well, all right.
Aaron, I like that though. It's just a fun, different,
The intro?
yeah.
I haven't seen it in another show where they're dancing, the main characters, right?
Something that I saw that stood out to me. It's definitely choreographed to work with people who are not dancers.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah, I feel like it's simple kind of moves, right?
yes,
It's not complex dancing.
It's set up so almost anyone could do it. But one thing I did notice is, and maybe some other people have a dance background as well, but the actress who plays Harcourt is the one that's always most jarring for me when I watch the intro, because everyone else is like doing these simple moves. But I think she has a background in dance.
Do you know that is James Gunn's, I believe, fiance now? The
I did hear that. Yes.
She's a very nice lady.
She is a very nice lady. James Gunn has well, I don't know her personally, but
But when she comes out on screen, and you'll have to let me know if you agree with this, like the way she moves is so much jerkier and so much weirder and more robotic than everyone else.
And do you think she's doing that on purpose because that's what she's been told? Like, don't dance well, like dance.
It
To be a
maybe.
little
we
awkward?
could be diving into this a bit too much, but I was going to make the comparison because her character on the show is more of a serious character. Like, she's more. I don't want to say straight edge, but she's not.
She's not a heel like you.
She's not
She's not
messing
a heel.
around.
Right.
She's all about taking care of business.
Exactly. So maybe that's kind of maybe that's some of her character coming out in the dance where she's more stiff, right? And takes it a bit more
Could be.
seriously.
I'm gonna have to
Could
watch
be.
this again.
And that
with
could
more
be
critical
totally
eye,
digging
'cause
into
But
I
I've-
think your observation is very interesting. That like, yeah, was this designed for people who can't dance but just have a fun, silly thing?
I think so.
And is it she's comes from this background of like where she's trying really hard, or they've told her to like be a little bit more clunky and awkward so you fit in with the group, but she's still taking it as very serious as like a dance. I'm very curious to look
Yeah,
at
because
some
she's
of-
proficient at
Yeah,
dance, so
yeah.
like her approach is totally different than everyone else's, and
Yeah.
just stands out as very odd. Even though the dance itself is very odd,
Yeah.
but it's just normal people doing like normal motions, just as a
And
choreographed
I
dance.
the intro was genius on James Gunn's part to get buzz around the show. Because
yeah.
like I know you guys are older, you're Gen whatever. What are you guys, baby boomers, something like that? I don't even know.
The greatest generation.
That's it. Yeah. On TikTok, it's like a trend almost, where it's like people are doing this dance. TikTok.
My Big Ben clock does that. I have to wind it up to make sure it keeps ticking and talking.
Right. It's a similar thing, but no, on TikTok,
Big
it's kind of become a trend, and it's created this buzz around the show.
I'd rather that
So
be a
it's
trend than
very
many
much
other things
genius.
that become trends.
Oh, 100%. And I think
Yeah,
it's a good
yeah,
gimmick
obviously.
that, like, if you could do a fun, silly dance, because everybody does the stupid dances on TikTok and Instagram, and if you're just getting, if it catches on you, it's a self-promotional thing that you're not paying any money for.
And that's
In the
kinda-
future Comic Cons, can you imagine just like all the characters from all kinds of things doing the Peacemaker dance? It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like Thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk a second here about how James Gunn can take a character that mainstream audiences can see or hear about and be like, "What? That's weird. I don't want to see that," and then turn it into something where they want to see it. That you see this with Groot, Rocket Raccoon, and now Peacemaker, Vigilante, who I
First
think.
appearance of Rocket Raccoon you can buy at the comic shop.
Look at
112
that.
East Bridge
Yeah,
Street.
yeah.
The comic shop.
It's a Hulk book, right? Yeah, I
it's
actually
just-
see it right now.
It's disputed as to what the first appearance of Rocket Raccoon is because he appeared in another book before that, but they didn't refer to him as Rocket Raccoon. They referred to him as something else. So sometimes people say that's the first appearance.
Hmm. It's
but
his-
kind of like,
It's Raccoon Rocket. I think maybe that's.
I think it's not even that. It's
No, it was a joke.
Sorry.
Well, I think something that happens with these movies, although certainly there's way more money backing up
Can we actually
these.
see what Aaron's Peacemaker looks like too? We do a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
cam?
Oh yeah, will it work? Hey,
You did this the other day, right?
yes.
Yeah,
a
it looks
little
great.
little sketch there. I'm not sure what did I do this for. I don't remember. Maybe
Is
just
that
for
on manga
fun.
Paper?
I think just for fun.
Yeah, this is manga paper. It's like a nice Bristol, but it's thinner. It's got a nice smooth finish to it.
I like that paper. I'm gonna have to buy a ream of it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I was looking at some halftone dot paper too, like the stuff that's like has the adhesive and you cut with an X-Acto knife. I was thinking about buying some of that too, but maybe I'll wait until I get paid again before I do that. Yeah, but doing a little bit of Peacemaker, and I'll have I think I'll have these sketches available April 2nd at the Rochester Independent Comics Expo. I'll be slinging some Wesleys out there.
April 2nd?
April 2nd, yeah, coming right up.
Can I go with that?
What is it?
Yeah, you want to go?
Yeah.
Because I would be flying solo.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
I'll be your con date.
I'm down with that, and we could.
You can be my hunk.
Yes, excellent. I'm down for that. We could also, if we have any time, we might be able to check out some shops. Maybe we'll see how it goes. I don't know, but there's an event the night before, which could maybe check out some shops. I don't know. We'll talk about it off air.
Peacemaker.
I can't remember. Oh yeah. James Gunn's ability to kind of take this character, like Vigilante, who kind of almost seems kind of generic, right?
I'm sure Marv Wolfman
You know.
would disagree. but-
Maybe. And he can kind of turn this into a fan favorite character. And
and
I think James Gunn, he does an excellent job with that. He also does an excellent job balancing humor and emotion, especially in this.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like in the Guardians movie as well, you get that emotion and that humor. And then also in this, he balances the two very
He
well.
has a unique ability to wrap the emotional core of the entire movie in absurdity and horror
yeah,
and gross
yeah.
things. But the more he wraps onto it, like the more the emotional core rings, which should distract, but like I'm just thinking about like with Ratcatcher 2.
Right,
Like,
sure.
like the most touching thing was like a recall to her dad, which is
Yeah.
like the ultimate
Who-
defeat
Taika
of
Waititi
of
plays.
Starro.
Right. Yep.
And it's just
It's a touching scene, and it's like
just all rats.
You see these rats that are like, people don't like rats, and you almost, it's like you feel for that character in that moment, and it hits you, hits you hard.
Where does it hit you?
Hits you hard.
right in the feels.
I'm not gonna.
But I was going to say a lot of the stuff that happens that allows James Gunn and other creators to kind of take a risk like this, I think, is the same way like that Bill Sienkiewicz could work on Moon Knight and really push the limits, or work on New Mutants. Is that these characters aren't these known commodities like
Sure.
Superman, Batman, X-Men.
I think that there's so much pressure to, like, if you're doing the Batman,
Right.
Yeah.
the bar is super high.
High.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of people telling you, nope, that's not going to work. You're doing it wrong, blah, blah, blah. Whereas if you're a James Gunn and you're getting a Guardians of the Galaxy, you're getting a Suicide Squad, where it's a little bit, I mean, I understand these are still very big movies, and there's a lot of money being spent.
Oh,
But,
now.
like, now,
Well, even then, but the
but I feel
budget-wise,
like
yes.
There's a little bit, fewer hands in the pot, fewer people probably trying to tell you what to do with your artistic direction.
Well,
Yeah. And as such, a storyteller like him can come up with some really good stuff. My key to dealing with creative people is always get out of their way. Like if James Gunn wants to come in and make a movie about the comic shop, I'm not going to tell him, hey, here are some really good ideas I think you should do, or no, that idea won't work.
Sure.
You just get out of his way. And I think that's with maybe a smaller movie like that. Again, these are not small movies, but these are not Batman. This is not Avengers.
Spider-Man.
They're not Spider. Like
They're not household names, right?
yeah, you get to kind of have a little bit more fun and take a few more chances, and develop those.
Get to mess
moments that
around
are
with the
more
characters, yeah.
intimate, and like you always talk about the intimate moments and things like that.
Or even like to have the ability to have lower expectations and then to exceed them.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
no, finish your thought.
I think that was it.
James Gunn, he kind of got some. He got some heat. Not some heat, but
Like his career heated up.
it came to a boiling point. No.
Okay.
When before the show came out, when they announced it, people were like, and I think especially after the Suicide Squad, they were like, "Why Peacemaker?" And that was my thought too. I'm like, why would there's more characters that I think, Ratcatcher 2. I think that would be an interesting show. I was wondering why Peacemaker, and he said, well, people were wondering before he gave this example before The Sopranos came out. Well, why would you do a show like that? Why The Sopranos?
Yeah.
And it's a similar thing with Peacemaker. It's like you got to give the show a chance. Give it a shot. And I think the show is amazing, and I think a lot of people gave it a shot because it got renewed for a second season, as it should. And I wouldn't say they set up for a second season. I think they do a good job. They do a little bit, but I think they do a good job at closing this kind of chapter. And
It could end. It could end right there, and that could be.
Yeah. And I think that's maybe what James Gunn.
I think that's what you have to do.
Smart guy. It's smart to do
Well,
that.
I feel like because a lot of times now, especially Hollywood wants to make sequels. They want these universes, and a lot of times I'm trying to think of an example of a film that had this, but you don't focus on the first film, where you just try to set up. Oh yeah, let's put this villain in here, but not just have it be a cameo. And let's put this other character in here and set up all these things, and it takes away from the story in the film, just with the first one. In
The X-Men movies.
Yeah, I guess.
Certainly
I'm
some.
trying to
Well,
think. I haven't seen those in a while.
It's like writing a good standalone issue that's part of a larger story.
Right,
arc that,
right.
Like, if it used to be back in the day, if you bought a 22-page comic, you got a whole story.
Right.
But it could also be part of a larger story.
Right.
But
And
like,
that's
you need to have a beginning, some kind of conflict, and some kind of ending.
And actually, I feel like Marvel does that really good with their films, where, you get, a movie, you get a standalone thing, you can watch it, you can enjoy it, but there's also a little bit of teases, for future installments, and where I think DC.
But it's an enjoyable enough. You can sit down and just
Right.
watch any Marvel movie,
Right.
and you kind of have to have a little bit of background on some of these characters.
Yeah,
Like not
yeah.
much. And you can enjoy it for what it is.
I feel like with the DC films, not Suicide Squad or Peacemaker, the Batman versus Superman, the Man of Steel, they set up even Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, which I know a lot of people like. I think it's okay. I don't think it's as amazing as people say. But they set up for this sequel, hoping that the movie does good, but they don't focus on the movie itself, and that's the fault of movies nowadays. I feel like a lot of times, especially with superhero films and these films that are series that want to go on to be universes.
They just want to franchise and make that universe so
Right.
bad that
There was-
yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
There was an article I read recently about the lack of originality. Maybe we even talked about this in the podcast. The lack of originality and original ideas.
Well, the
in
thing is-
Hollywood, that like if you went back in time, 60s, 70s, 80s, every property was new, and there were very few things that were sequels. Whereas in the past 20
Well-
years, everything's a sequel, and it kind of takes away from that.
Sure.
But-
Well, the thing is, I mean, Hollywood, they want to make money. And, an original property sometimes it's not going to do that. There's no guarantee, especially now with COVID. And I mean, box office, if your movie, if it's not based off of, if it's not a Spider-Man, if it's not based off of a property or a sequel, chances are it's not going to do well at the box office unless there's just some sort of amazing buzz around it, which is
If
rare.
Hollywood ever wants to not make money, I could consult them on that and give them some good ideas about how not to.
You're good at doing that.
Aaron, I'm very jealous. You're flipping through that Vigilante book.
Oh yeah.
Which was
Yeah, why
given
don't
to
we-
us by John Weldon. Shout out to John Weldon.
John Weldon, yes.
You
It's
don't have
a
to shout
good
out
looking
about
book.
this.
I'm sorry.
I noticed
What
it's
did you
got
find? I'm
it's got
listening.
some Ross Andrew artwork in there and some different stuff. He's a Spider-Man artist that Frank Miller liked quite a lot. He wrote into the magazine, Spider-Man magazine, and he had a letter published talking about how much he liked Ross Andrew's artwork. Fun little
Frank
fact there.
Miller did?
Yep.
Wow, that's a compliment.
Who's Frank Miller?
one of the Miller
He's
brothers.
my wife's extended cousin family, I think.
Shout out.
That actually, I flipped through that book real quickly. They're pretty nice stuff.
Yeah, very
Mark-
very classically
Yeah.
drawn.
Marv Wolfman. I don't know a lot about Marv Wolfman.
He's a wolf man.
I think that I generally like him, but I don't know all the stuff specifically.
Let's go.
That's
the
kind of my
air.
take too. I was hoping you knew a little bit more about him. That I feel like the stuff that I've read, I kind of like, but I can't really think of anything specific to be honest. But he's just one of those staple names from like the 80s, that
70s.
70s.
Yeah, I think he goes back that far.
Yeah.
At least as a writer, for all these different characters. Vigilante is such an interesting character in the show because he's somebody who can do terrible things, but it's almost like no one ever taught him better, and he's got the brain chemistry to never come at that realization.
Right. We were talking about this
Himself?
before, yeah.
So he does these bad things, so you don't like him, but then like you see him interact with his friends, and that he's trying to emulate human emotion and trying to earn the loyalty of his friends through certain actions.
Well, I feel like he, before, Task Force Z or whatever you want to call it.
That's
Yeah.
X.
Well,
Well,
no,
this
in this
is
Z.
Now
Come
it's
on,
Z.
get with the times.
XYZ, or Evan. Oh my gosh. Too many letters, too many names.
I feel like he didn't really have any friends. He was kind of a loser. And I think it's interesting. He's almost like the unhinged version of Peacemaker in a sense, because like he'll like kill anybody. I feel like with
Yeah,
no
no
remorse.
conscience.
Whereas that's kind of what I thought Peacemaker was in the Suicide Squad, but now with the show, it's like no, he does feel remorse. He even says a bit of a spoiler. I think it's like halfway through the season. He's like, I don't want to kill anymore. I'm sick of it. Whereas Vigilante, I don't think he has those emotions. He's just like, yeah, whatever. He's fine
Yeah.
with it. Where I think you even said it earlier, when we were talking about it before, he's kind of like a sociopath
Sure.
type of character, which for sure, yeah.
But he wants to have relationships with people, but I think he just doesn't know
he doesn't
how.
right.
He's a likable sociopath, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But I also think that that's just a fun,
Yeah.
different take on things.
Right.
Like, but if you're on the wrong side of him, like it's
Oh, yeah.
not gonna.
Chances are you're not gonna do so well.
But if you're on the good side, he's like a buddy with you.
Yeah.
Right. He's like, yeah. Which I love the relationship between Peacemaker and Vigilante.
Very interesting.
It's very funny because
they
Vigilante
just-
wants to be like BFFs, and Peacemaker's like, dude, like get away from me. I don't want anything to do with you. Like I think Peacemaker views Vigilante almost as a copycat, which he kind of is. But
Yeah, but they're just bros that like to blow stuff up in the woods.
yeah, and that's kind of the arc that at the end of the season, that's where
Well,
that's where
did
they
that
are.
before then too, right?
I don't think so. I think
No?
I think they. Yeah, I don't think so. I could be wrong.
In the
But
second episode, they're blowing stuff up in the woods.
no, they're not, Evan.
I only watched 2 episodes.
No, they're not, dude. Yeah, but should we wrap things up here? I mean, we're almost at the hour mark. Yeah. So
Aaron, what do you got?
what do you get?
On Vigilante, Peacemaker, just in
Peacemaker.
general.
Give us your just in general.
The take on Peacemaker.
Yes.
Very James Gunn type thing. I thought there was very entertaining, very kind of out of left field, but entertaining with different characters, especially the team that they work with, like Harcourt and the
Diebeard.
Diebeard. Yeah, the whole season I was watching that beard and being like, "Am I the only one who's seeing this?" Like,
Well, he has over the season it starts growing, and when
Does it change?
it changes, yeah. There's like some white.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna.
So
watch
at the
that.
end of
Now,
the season, you see there's
that's
like
a very good
change,
subtle
yeah.
gimmick if that's the case.
they there's an actual.
yeah, we'll let you play it. We'll let you watch
Well,
it.
to tie into what you said earlier about how James Gunn can kind of take this kind of almost weird thing and turn, have an emotional beat with it, right?
Yes.
Kind of it's a similar thing with that, where it's like, oh my, like
I'm gonna
this
watch
is a
the third
joke,
episode
but
on
this
that.
is like you feel for the guy,
Yeah.
and he did it so well.
It's like when I bought a Hall & Oates album as a joke and then listened to it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is great music."
Who was it? Holland Oaks.
Hall & Oates.
Hall and Oates.
Hall
What are
&
they
Oates.
from the '60s?
Shout out to Hall & Oates.
It's like Billy Joel, but if there were 2 of them.
Billy and Joel.
Billy and Joel.
Yeah. So what?
Shout out to Billy
what
Joel.
else take there? So similar thing like that. I think I felt like there were similarities between this and Sliver. Was it Sliver that he did?
Yeah,
Slither.
Slither. Yeah,
Slither.
Yeah.
which was one of his earlier films with Elizabeth Banks.
Kind of some rural environments, some kind of like
I think it's like-
zombie-esque
Yeah,
type characters.
Whereas,
Also a creature in the barn.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I think I
But,
hear mixed
but-
things
but-
about
Were
it.
you-
hunts in that movie too?
I don't recall.
I'm all set then. I'm not seeing the film.
Lucas is a hard pass on the No
No,
Hunk
thank you.
movie. I'm just trying to think of some other thoughts here. I think you bring some really interesting character moments into it. I think if you like the first and second Kingsman movies, you'll definitely enjoy Peacemaker because there's definitely some moments in it that remind me of like the oh my god, I can't believe they're doing this.
It's totally
in
it's
the
like
show.
absurdity, right?
It's got heart, it's got zaniness, it's got a lot of blood. Highly entertaining, and just watch that intro on repeat.
Yeah, I would agree. That's it. I would agree with you. I am looking forward to a second season and seeing what
Eagly.
Eagly.
Eagly is the absolute best.
He's the best. He's a standout.
Just from the introduction where he gives him a hug, you're like, what?
That's it. That's kind of another
It's a
plant.
very fun character.
That's another seed that's planted and kind of pays off for later on.
It's like my dog when I got home today after I was at work all day. She jumped up on my lap and then jumped up again with like 2 paws.
Tootsie.
Was
like,
it
did
was
the
it
dog
tough
hug.
going back to work today?
You know me. I kind of can just like soldier through almost anything. It was not bad.
Are you tired?
I think I will be.
Let me ask, what time
going
did you
on
what time did you
adrenaline
wake
right
up
now.
this morning?
Like 5:30.
Did you? I woke up at
Later than usual for you, right?
It is, but like it's a weird with the care of Lucy. It's a shifting
Right,
of time
it's-
because in the beginning I would get up at like 3:30, 4:30, and so then like as the care schedule has like morphed, just because like her feeding schedule and sleep schedule just changes a little bit.
right.
So I'm just a little off my normal.
My sleep schedule has been amazing recently. I usually it doesn't matter what time I go to bed, as long as it's not like 3:00 in the morning. I'm usually up by 8:00 every day.
Good for you.
In school days, I woke up at 6:30, rolled out of bed at like 7, and yeah, I like that time. Like I'll do some homework. That's when I write my comic page in the morning, and yeah, I just have some free time to myself before class, just to
important.
get ready for the day. And I think it sets me up for a good day most of the time.
What's that?
Oh, this is the Abe Mays page
Oh, let's
Ooh,
run off Abe
yeah,
Mays
let's-
page.
let's-
go to document cam.
Let's see.
from the comic shop. Makes a comic number 3 from
Comic
last
Shop has
Monday.
A podcast makes a comic, does a thing.
Does
A very talented young man in our area here doing a sequel to his other Noi Boy adventure.
That's awesome.
This time he's got an Oculus. I'm just really impressed with his like panel layout.
Yeah.
I like his figure drawing. And actually, he puts a lot into his panels.
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
the pick in his nose. There's the monster under the bed. He's farting. Like it's just a funny, goofy.
It's really
That's
well
awesome.
thought out, and I don't know if there's like, do kids still have like Sunday comic strips to look at? Like this whole thing kind of reminds me of a Sunday comic strip.
You mean like in the newspaper?
Yeah.
Like that's a thing?
I mean, they're a cool design. I still like that format with a Sunday.
The
Sunday
newspaper
paper.
is like that, dude. I'm taking an intro to mass media, and that's one of the things we've talked about is print media and how it's pretty much
They still
dying.
want me to buy advertisements through them.
Don't do it. It's a waste of your money.
All right, we got any plugs, Aaron? We haven't plugged anything lately. I feel like for you.
Well, I mean, I got the same stuff I'm working on. I've got Preetza's Pizza, the full collected edition manga size, $10. The human son of a living pizza man must fight evil anchovies. There is Wesley the robot.
Hold on. Tell me about LT Provolone.
LT Provolone, he's like Judge Dredd with the cheese on his head.
There we go.
He's a character that comes in the middle of the story. Who is he's kind of like my Peacemaker.
Interesting.
Ooh, he is. He's got the big goofy thing on his head. I don't know why you'd wear a big goofy thing on your head, but I guess that's just, you know.
And he's like a paramilitary type guy who makes cheese puns
It's
all
interesting.
throughout. Yeah, and then I've got Wesley the Robot, which is like the Iron Giant meets Coffee meets college radio, with interviews with bands such as The Faint, Interpol, Abso Facto, all and more. And I'm working on issue 9 right now, which I'm thinking I'm going to try to get it out in this fall. But it's 60 pages, which is triple sized, the last 2 issues.
Triple fat goose.
Yeah. And I've been working on it here and there when I can. I have a plan for every panel. Now it is just sketching it, inking it, lettering it, and reevaluating, reworking. But there's a plan for every panel. Like it's locked in. I have got a rough idea for what the characters are saying here and there. It's gonna be a monster. Ooh, should I drop some new news actually?
We need the rap bomb sound, like Funkmaster Flex used to do.
There we go. I'm working with Caetano to do a variant cover for issue 9.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
And he sent me some sketches today. This is the best Wesley's ever looked. Like,
That's. I'm so happy for that. That's the collaboration between you two. Is a great thing. It's a great thing.
That's sweet.
it's gonna be sick
That's all. I can't wait to see.
this fall.
Lucas, what do you got?
You know what I got.
You got Lowe's.
Lowe's, shout out. That's it. I have nothing to shout out. Just, follow the Twitch, look at our YouTube.
This week
That's
we've
it.
got Friday Night Magic, and we're also doing a Saturday Sealed Magic event. We may have some pre-release kits that we're going to bust out again for $30. Get you 6 packs, build a sealed deck of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, a set that everybody seems to love. We've got plenty of cards in stock. We're running a little bit low on set packs, but hopefully we'll have some more of those in by the end of the week. We got new Pokemon Brilliant Stars in today. That's been a great success. We sold a lot of that, considering we hardly even got it on the sales floor.
I know, yeah. Well, yeah.
But,
I think like 2 people came in and they were like,
because they were supposed to be here Friday, but the shipment got delayed until Monday,
Right.
and then it showed up late today too. Normally we get our products first thing
Yeah.
in the morning, but I think Martin said,
and yeah, there was like people on the sales floor like asking, and I'm like, I was in the back like opening it up.
yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, we got it. Give me 1 sec. And so yeah, we got Pokemon stuff in. That's cool.
Judge Dredd with a cheese on his head. I don't know. You want to play a bump or anything before we go? Or,
Yeah, bump it up.
Sure. Let's play this.
The Comic Shop, coming to you in 2022. It's the future. All new supply chain issues. Out of stock again. Increased pricing. More apathy. The Comic Shop, coming to you in 2022. Lucas came back. We didn't think he was going to come back. Lower your expectations. We fixed the fan in the bathroom. The Comic Shop, coming to you in 2022.
Be there.
Okay. I think that's a wrap. Anything else? Take us home, would you?
You've been listening to the Asugo Comic Shop does a podcast with me, Vigilante.
I'm Peacemaker.
And I have a helmet. Good night, everybody.